We are all these spirits on the inside trying to navigate and get through this life. Everybody was born here with an even slate. You know, everybody was born with love.
A lot of people talk about grinding and you have to out hustle the pain, but that's such an unrealistic expectation. In that losing a mother, a brother, a father, a sister, anyone close to you, that is a life changing moment, and you have to take care of yourself and honor that pain.
I think we should learn self love. Like, they didn't teach us that in school, so we don't understand that you're not supposed to put nobody before you. Because if you put somebody before you, you're ultimately putting someone before God.
Awakening just to that, it opens you to really discover, what part of me am I asking for people to love? Where does that come from? What is the emptiness that I feel that I'm begging for others to feel? You understand what I mean? And it's like, now is your opportunity to really unpack what's happening. And what you're going to find is the very parts of you that you're begging people to love is actually the most beautiful part of you that you don't even see.
Today I have a special guest with me here today. His name is Kellen. Kellen, would you mind introducing yourself to the audience for me, please?
Yo, how's it going? My name's Kellen Constantine, also known as Young Kells of when I'm making music. Just an artist, a journalist. I do a lot of things.
I love it. So can you tell us where you're from and what is it like where you're from?
Where I'm from San Antonio, Texas. That's where I was born. And then I moved to Monterey, California, really Marina, California. That's where I would say I really grew up, went to high school and stuff. Where I'm from, especially growing up in San Antonio, it's really just it's like the middle class suburbs, nothing too crazy where I was at, just the middle class suburbs, a lot of military family, stuff like that. When I moved out here, I noticed it's a lot more lower class to middle. It was like lower middle class, which like you see a lot of people that aren't really broke, but they ain't got a lot of money either. So like that's one thing I probably feel like I grew up around living in California. Not really a lot of low income to where it's like people that are really poor, people really broke, homeless or like all that kind of stuff. But like I would say definitely low middle class to where it's like we barely got it.
So not growing up in that, how did you adapt to this new change?
Oh, well, like one thing I've always noticed was like growing up, you gotta be able to give work back when you can. Not everyone is able to have all the nice things that I feel like I had growing up. So I remember, especially with my father for sure, he didn't always grow up as good as I did. So he would always try to help my friends. He knew that was struggling. One thing we would do is like I remember he would give like my friends shoes to play basketball in or stuff like that, making sure everyone got rides to go to the games and stuff, making sure people getting dropped off at home, because that's even the harder part is like after practice taking people home, making sure they get back and stuff, because it's hard out here, when you grow up in like single parent households or you grow up with parents who got to work extra late shifts and stuff like that. And then a lot of people where I'm from, we don't live in the city you go to high school in, so it's hard to really maneuver and do all that stuff with the public transportation not running all the time and stuff like that. So it'd be one of those situations where if you can give back, I was always seeing it with my pops and my moms where it's like you got to try to give back.
And what was it like for you as a young man having your father be there for you and for the community?
Well, really, just growing up, it was just like that was probably one of my best friends. Really, my dad. I'm an only child, so I don't got no brothers or sisters. So, really, growing up with my dad, that was one of the guys. Like I played video games with my dad, played sports with my dad. He was sometimes my coach, but really not even my coach. Just really just my friend. Really, he was always trying to keep it real with me from a young age. I remember when I first got caught smoking weed, like his reaction to that was just so not what I expected. It was more like a cool, calm thing versus a I'm gonna beat whoop your ass or like I'm gonna do all that. So that's one thing that I noticed about my dad is that he always been cool with me growing up. Like we always had a relationship to where I look at him more as like my friend and my dad. Definitely one of my best friends.
What was it like having like that two parent household? What were your parents like growing up?
Growing up, it really was. I feel like I said, my dad was like one of my best friends. I was real close with. I'm close with both of my parents, but my dad specifically, like he was just like we used to always do stuff together. You know, big into sports, big into music, and those are two of my passions to this day. I could watch sports with my dad, listen to music with my dad. We used to watch shows all the time. He always showed me the shows he grew up on, stuff like that. But on the other side of things, growing up with my mom, so I felt like she was the real discipline. My mom was the one really get on me, really the one like if I make her mad, then I know that like man, I messed up. If my dad's mad, it's whatever, you know. But when I see moms get mad, you know, it's like man, I really messed up. So one of the things my mom, she was always trying to make sure that I was going to be able to succeed in life with all the crazy stuff going on. That's one thing she always tried to say. You always want to have a goal. You want to have a future. You want to always try to elevate. There's always you could be better. It's one thing I've always noticed with my mom, especially with her work and stuff. She was in the military. She always wanted to be the next highest rank. Always wanted to get the next ribbon. Always wanted to get the next award and stuff. So it's like you know you could be a high position, but are you the best at your position? You know stuff like that. And both of my parents in my household, they both very different, but they both love me so much and they love each other very much. So that was just growing up with them. It was just us three, and I feel like us three could take over the world.
I love that. That is really good. I don't know that. That is so awesome to have that. I'm biracial. I'm Mexican and African American, and I think you are as well. Can you talk about what was it like being like a mixed kid and having like those two different cultures be a part of your upbringing?
Yeah, really. It really didn't really click to me till I moved to California. When I grew up in San Antonio, it's very Mexican dominant. And then, like, I grew up in a military environment too. It's a big military town, San Antonio. So, but it's really Mexican dominated. So it's like at the end of the day, you're gonna be around a lot of Latinos. You're gonna be around a lot of, you know, different types of food because of it. You know, and also Tex Mex is a lot different than the California way too. So I was just so used to a certain way of people and the way of living out there. When I came to California, that's like when I really started to see black people, like for real. Like you know, we grow up with black people always, but I see the communities. I see what they stand for and different things like that in California, specifically. Like I said, in Seaside, Monterey, Marina. Like you see the African American communities out there. You see it for sure when you go out to the Bay Area or out here in LA. It's just a different mindset, different atmosphere for black people. And you know, growing up, I never really looked at it as I was black or I was white or I just knew I wasn't Mexican. You know, like kind of, that's just how it kind of was going. But now it's like when I came to California, you could really see the black movement out here with the different people, and I didn't really see that in San Antonio. I know it happens in different parts of Texas, but not in San Antonio. So like seeing that was really helped me find who I was truly, you know, because at the end of the day, I am black, and when you're around more black people, you get to be yourself. You get to be able to do certain things. You know, you get to look at yourself a certain way, and I feel like everyone needs that. You know, regardless where you from, regardless where you live, you always need those like-minded people or those like people that can relate to you on certain different aspects of life. You know, whether it's good or bad. And that's one thing I feel like I didn't understand until I really moved to California, the good and bad aspects of actually being black.
And is there any? Do you like associate yourself with one culture over the other, or is it pretty like balanced?
See, growing up, I used to always just say I was mixed, you know? I used to always say like I'm mixed, I'm both. I'm black and I'm white, you know, but now growing up or becoming a man in America and society, I've noticed now that it don't matter how much you want to put it this or that, people are going to look at you as being black no matter what. And I know you could go back to the slave days where it was if you like I think it was the 16th African, then they consider you black, you know. So it's like when I look at it that way and the way people are treated in certain ways and the way people's mindsets are affected on the other way they view people, I notice where it's like I feel like I have to consider myself. I'm not give I'm taken away from other people when I don't consider myself black.
I didn't think about that. That's very mature of you to say that. And yeah, I feel like eventually, especially depending on how you look, you know, like, and how you talk, how you carry yourself, people are gonna be like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, you mixed, but you black, you know. So unfortunately, the world is gonna kind of try to tell us who we are. But I'm glad you doing it in a positive way and not just like being victim to it, you know. But okay, so I actually met Kellen at my first university that I went to before I transferred to an HBCU, which was San Jose State University, which is in the Bay Area. It's really in San Jose, which isn't considered the technical Bay. But how did you end up there in San Jose?
Really, what happened was I really wanted to go to San Diego State. My mom's from San Diego. I'm a big Chargers fan. You see, I love San Diego, just the whole city. I want to go to San Diego State. That was my goal. I always wanted to be out there. It's just supposed to be a beautiful campus. The city's beautiful, but I didn't get accepted there. So I just thought, one of my good friends, he want to go to San Jose State. So I'm gonna just go to San Jose State with him, and we gonna do it. So because I got accepted. That was the first school I got accepted to, I believe, was San Jose State University was the first school that I got my acceptance letter from. So I'm like, I always knew that if I'm gonna go to school with my boy, I was gonna go with him. But then, so I put all the paperwork in, like, yep, I'm gonna be a Spartan, this, and that. Well, it's only an hour up from Marina, so that was one of the good things too. I was an hour north of where I went to high school and where my parents were staying at the time, so I was like, that's gonna be easy, go back and forth. But then my homie didn't even get accepted, so he didn't even get accepted at San Jose State. So then I ended up just like, I'm already enrolled. It's really close. I didn't want to go to CSUMB because I felt like that's just going to be me in Monterey already going to CSUMB. I'm not going to branch out like I'm supposed to. Like, I'm not going to go that extra mile to be uncomfortable. I'm going to just be at home. And I didn't want that. So I went to San Jose State, and that was probably to this day the best decision I made in my life. Probably going to San Jose State.
I love that self awareness, man, and that just, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna just do my own thing. You know, I can't be a with my friend all the time because sometimes waiting on your friend, you might be missing out on your purpose. You know,
Man.
which like you felt like was at San Jose State around those people. So I know from me seeing you, you were always like into your music. You had your headphones on. Like, where did that passion and love for music come from?
Really, from both of my parents growing up, I remember my dad had it was probably like a 6 or 7 foot tall like bookcase for CDs, and it would just be so much different music on the CDs. Some of it was my mom's CDs, but it was mostly my dad's. But it'd be everything, and I'll know they used to write their names. They said this how you know because they was in the military. So you would have like the day room, which is where like you could just chill when you like it's like a break room really, but the day room. So what people used to do, they had the speakers or the boom boxes, whatever, in there. My mom and dad, they used to get the CDs. You have to take the thing out of the album cover, and he would write his name. He would write Tino, and then the year he got the CD, or it will say Renee, and then it will say the year like 90, 95, 92. And so like they got hella CDs where because you'll leave them in the day room, and you'll be like, man, y'all better not snatch my that's my stuff, man. I got that new joint. You better not touch that LL Cool J. That used to be I got that new one, but so they always had music, and my dad's a DJ too. So growing up, he used to always be playing music, different stuff. He like jazz. My dad like rock. He definitely like reggae. He like every generation of rap or hip hop. It don't matter what generation, he gonna like it. He really like all types of music for real. But he grew up really during the hip hop era when it became what it was. Is when he became a man. So that's really like high school and stuff was when Run DMC, Curtis Blow, Fat Boys, all that Def Jam stuff was coming out. And that's what he grew up listening to. And I remember even as a kid, I used to watch the VHSs of their music videos and stuff like that. And then, so really my dad was like my biggest influence with music. Always in the car playing music, playing new music. He really would play old school hip hop in his car. And that's how I used to get tapped in to do all this old stuff. Like now I feel like I'm a hip hop enthusiast and historian damn near all the stuff I done known and listened to with my pops and stuff. So and that's really my like music's always been played through our house. My dad, like I said, DJ, always got to have a speaker in his house somewhere, always playing music, always sending me songs. He to this day, he'll send me some song, screenshot some random song, and be like, "Oh, I like this guy. Whoever these new guys, they cool, they good." Like, so he always still try to keep tapped in with the music with me, but it's just growing up, always a new thing. I remember Tuesdays when albums used to come out on Tuesdays. My dad used to always get new movies and new CDs, DVDs and CDs on Tuesday. Come home from work with whatever, any Tuesday he gonna have either a movie or a CD. Yeah, so that's where I get my music from. Really, my pops.
I love that, man. It remind me of my daddy. He said, staying in tune with the music, that's how you stay young too. Because
Yeah.
young people are talking. You can't just be tuning them out. They're saying something. You got to listen to them. So I'm glad your dad is like that. What would you describe your music style like as an artist? What type of music do you make?
Type of music do I make right now? I definitely would say it's rap for sure. I definitely would say I'm a rapper. If I had to say a genre specifically, I don't know what some people, I don't like to consider myself this, but the style it goes from is like my guys from Detroit, they do scam rap, and they rap very fast with a lot of punchlines on sample beats or like certain style beats, but the fast BPMs for sure. But they be talking a lot about scams. I don't really relate to that. I'm not no scammer or nothing like that. But I understand where they coming from because I listen to it so much. But it's really just like what some people call it. This is what I kind of say. It's just shit talking. You ain't really like rapping about no substance. It's like not every song got no like substance or nothing like that necessarily. Like half the songs don't even have a hook. Like when I'm making these songs, there ain't be no hook half the time. It's just me just rapping and freestyling, going off the head to where we just say, this stuff you said right here is so smooth, so crazy. We gonna repeat this because they have to hear it again. It's not like I intended for it. So this really just fun and really just like I said, a fun, definitely fast rap. And I say you probably call it shit talking, but some people might confuse it with the scam rap where it's like my rapper friends do be scam rapping, but I'm not. I wouldn't say my stuff is scam rap. It's just a similar style, similar beats, similar concepts.
I love that, and I'm very proud that you have stayed true to your craft and you're consistent. And we need to hear that. You want to leave your mark on the world, and for you, that is through music. That's through using your voice. So keep doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, I feel like my laptop is about to die. I'm outside. I'm sorry, but I just want to make sure I get these last points out before something happens to our call. Really good conversation too, by the way. Um, what would you tell the younger Kellen?
What would I tell the younger Kellen? Man, one thing I will for sure tell the younger Kellen, I would tell them for sure that this money come and go for real. That's one thing I would tell the younger Kellen. This money come and go. So like you can't look at the money the way that I used to look at the money. The way I conceptualize it now is I know I'm gonna get this much, or I know I can get this much. I can make this much, so I could do this much. Then also it's just you don't want to even have this much money because it's just gonna be like so much stuff could happen and you don't even get to use your money. So I'm just like the concept of money I for sure would try to tell my younger self. And really what I would try to tell my younger self is I would just try to point him in the right direction with the music sooner because you could be doing this stuff by yourself what I was doing before. I'm just starting to realize more with the music how to make it more legit and official. And that's one thing. I would just try to make my stuff more legit and official earlier and sooner so it could be even bigger now.
I love that. I love that. And what's next for you? Next month is a new year. So what's next for
So
Kellen?
what's next for me really? Um I don't have a for sure date. We want to drop it early next year, 2023. Me and my boy Famous Far, we got our new tape, The Barnyard Bandits. It's gonna be crazy. That one's gonna be next year. I'm working on Him Duncan 2. I'm working on Wide Awake 2 with my boy Dream Awake. We got a whole lot more coming. I'm working on doing a lot of stuff with my sports writing too, so keep in tune with that. Besides that, though, really just this music stuff. Like I said, Barnyard Bandits coming soon. Young Kel's Famous Far. That's gonna be my next take.